All right, on to part 2. All right, so when the French Revolution actually gets going, some of the things that they're wanting to do, like I said, obviously is equality. They want the 3 estates to be equal, which ends up happening when they abolish all the estates. They're looking for specific liberties. They want to protect people's natural liberties or natural rights. They want to protect people's property. They want to protect their security. Eventually, we're going to get the Committee of Public Safety, which is responsible for security, but they don't live up to their motto. And then once the revolution gets going and they write a constitution, they want a constitutional monarchy, but you have this other group who is like the left wing of it. They're pushing for a republic. So we're going to start off with everyone wanting the same goals, and then we kind of have like these 3 different groups that want different things. Sorry, I have allergies today. All right, so first important date. You get the Bastille, the storming of the Bastille, like I said, which is on Bastille Day, July 14th, 1789. So 1789 is the default date for the French Revolution. It's basically the equivalent of the Boston Tea Party. This is French Independence Day. The whole purpose of storming the Bastille was to go free all the political prisoners that were in jail because of the king. There were like 7 of them. Really, they wanted guns and gunpowder, because how can you have a revolution if you're a poor peasant and you don't have guns and gunpowder? So they go, they free the people. Yay, now we have armed, starving peasants. And what they ended up doing is they killed a bunch of the guards. Well, 2, but still. Cut off their heads, put them on pikes, paraded them around Paris, tore the Bastille down, and then made a bridge out of it. So they tore down this symbol of oppression. So that's what's going on with Bastille Day. The Paris women. Okay, so still in 1789. Like I said, because you had this hailstorm that destroyed crops, grain prices go up, which means the price of bread goes up, which is a staple of pretty much anybody's diet at this point. The women of Paris heard that the Queen, Marie Antoinette, was hoarding grain in the palace. Was she really? No. But anyway, this was the rumor, and mob mentality takes over. So all the women of Paris, and these are mainly like women who are working in the fish markets, who are farmers, and these are really beefy women. So these are women that you don't want to mess with. They march to the palace, storm the palace. They go in there looking for Marie Antoinette. And they're killing people. If they would have found her, they probably would have killed her and torn her apart. But they go into her bedroom and destroy everything. They end up finding Marie and Louis, and then they take the king back to Paris because he's at Versailles, which is far away from the city, far away from what's going on. They're like, hey, you're our king. We're in the midst of a revolution. You probably need to get back over here. So then Louis basically becomes a prisoner in Paris. And so now the authority of the king is gone. All right. So the equivalent of the American Revolution for the French is the Doro-Mac, or the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen. And again, like the American counterpart, sets out like all the rights and privileges that all French citizens should have, regardless of your class. But it leaves out women. So Olympia de Gouges ends up drafting her own document, which is the Declaration of the Rights of Women and the Citizen, because women need rights too. All right, so now that the Constitution has been written, when did we get the Constitution? 1789, 1790. Here's how the National Assembly works. So you have 3 different groups. You have the group that was pro-monarchy, which was the right. They didn't want a revolution. They still want to keep the monarchy. You have the National Party, who were your excuse me, middle of the road people and won a British-style monarchy, which is a parliamentary system. They still had a constitution, but it's more of like this whole parliamentary monarchy. Then you have the Jacobins. And the Jacobins are the really radicals, the far left group. They are led by my boy Maximilian Robespierre, who has the worst suicide attempt in history, and I will talk about that later. He wants to totally get rid of the king, get rid of the monarchy, get rid of all this, and we want a republic. So he is the most outspoken person during the revolution. So he's kind of like the de facto leader of the French Revolution. All right. So lots of stuff goes on in the French Revolution. Like Louis is trying to start wars with everybody so that if France is fighting wars and he can stay in charge and it detracts from the revolution. So he's trying to start all these problems, which the people don't like. And what ends up happening is the king tries to leave France because his wife, Marie, was Austrian. So they're going to try to run away somewhere else. So the king and his wife and all their children dress as servants, and they are going to try to leave France and cross the border. Well, as they're going through one of the checkpoints set up by the National Assembly, they recognize Louis. Why does some random person who has never seen the king before recognize him? Because his face is on all of the money. So if you're going to ever rule a country and you don't want people to know who you are, don't put your face on money. So anyway, they're captured. They are sent back to Paris under armed guard. And this is going to be the chance for the Jacobins, who were the far left people of the National Assembly, who are now kind of like in charge of the French Revolution. They are going to put Louis on trial, okay, for conspiracy against public liberties, which they put him on trial. It's a fake trial. He is going to lose anyway. In a revolution where you hate the king, there's no way the king comes out of this on top. So he is executed publicly by guillotine. And Marie Antoinette follows later that year. They put her on trial. When she gets put on trial, this is one of like the saddest things for me with the revolution, because she was like 14 or 16 when she had to marry Louis. She comes to a country where she doesn't speak the language. She doesn't know anybody. She's been raised as an aristocrat. So her lifestyle that she lives, and they vilify her for living this affluent lifestyle, this is all she has ever known in her life. And she doesn't know any better. And they kill her husband. She's on all this stress. They take her children away from her. They end up killing her children after the fact. The shock and stress of it all turns her hair white. And so it's just really, really sad to kind of think about how all this ends up transpiring. But anyway, once the king is executed, people around Europe are like, what the crap? They just killed the king. What's going to happen to us? So that's that phase of the French Revolution. And then after Louis and Marie are killed, that's going to usher in the Reign of Terror. So I'm going to come back to that here in a second, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about with the Reign of Terror.